Welcome back to tonight's Sad Reality. It's probably one of the most stupid ideas I've had in a solid minute, but I'm literally gonna farm 1 million Bongo Cat types in one night. Not only because I'm bored, but because I find it funny. And, I don't plan on doing all that in one video, but quite frankly, I have nothing better to do. So, welcome back to tonight's Sad Reality. Decompressing, spamming the keyboard. Hopefully it doesn't come through my microphone, although if it does, I guess we'll just call it ASMR. Because welcome to the internet, and it seems like there's a place for everything, even videos like these, I suppose. But yeah, so today was a good day. I woke up at 6 in the morning, went over to church, worked the church cameras and all that. That was fun, because originally I forgot to, like, not sign up, but confirm that I was supposed to be working that day, and they always have backups, and I'm like, oh, hey, they didn't really need me this morning. And they texted me this morning, they're like, oh, hey, actually we needed you, because the backup, like, failed. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. So I ended up doing that today, for a few hours, but I woke up at 6 anyways. 6 in the morning. Got, like, 5 hours of sleep. So I took a nap earlier today as well. Solid power nap. Big fan of power naps, by the way. They're probably one of the worst uses of my time, but I definitely feel better, and you can probably hear my voice that I'm actually, like, doing fine. I'm not super tired despite it being midnight, and I have to wake up tomorrow at 7 for my job. I was watching Stranger Things earlier tonight, and it's kind of funny. So I'm on season 2, I think episode 6 now, so I finished the 5th one. I think there's 4 episodes left. And in the first season there's 8 episodes, second I think there's 9. I think it alternates 8, 9, 8, 9. I don't know about the 5th season, or if that's the one that's about to come out, but there's one that comes out in November, I believe. Although I could be totally wrong, so I'm not super informed, as per usual. And I really like it so far. I've been a really big fan of, like, the story elements and all that. I feel like the writing's been pretty good. Like, from what I heard from my coworkers, people were like, you know, season 1's pretty much where it's at, season 2, it's, like, not as good, and then I'm like, I don't know, maybe it falls off in the last few episodes, but, what it's worth, I've been really enjoying the series. I think it's, like, the writing's good, you kind of understand things at the same rate the characters do. But I do feel like the kind of the fatal flaw of shows like that is as soon as you ruin the mystery, the rest of the sort of the premise of it. So, like, it's scary because there's some unknown element to it. You're figuring things out at the same time the characters are, and once you kind of figure everything out, or like once you understand what the characters are, their dynamics, all that, I feel like by season 2, then it might kind of start falling off after that, you know? And I think it's really good writing is trying to find ways to keep things unpredictable, almost. Like, at every turn I'm like, okay, well, so they introduced Max, and a few of the guys are interested in Max, and they're trying to figure out, or I'm trying to figure out in my head who's going to end up with her, if any of them are at all. So, just picking up small clues and stuff like that. And same thing with Dart, or whatever, the mini thing that I think his name's Dustin, just like adopts. He's like, you know, this thing's my friend, I care for it, I found it in the trash can, also it ate my cat, but that's not really, like, the biggest problem. I couldn't tell if it was a cat or a dog, honestly. That's how much attention I was paying. Really, I was paying more attention to the cherry candy I was eating tonight for whatever reason. That's fun per usual. Also, it's some math as to the rate this requires, and with, I think, typing, I think this would take, like, maybe, I think, a few hours to technically hit 1 million for this. It's kind of like a cookie clicker speedrun, where it's literally just a bunch of typing, although my computer does slow down while I'm running OBS and Spotify and all these other things to keep music in the background or just things going, so I suppose that's technically a bit of a limiting factor, not to mention your fingers getting tired from all the constant tapping. But I'm an achievement hunter, and I like doing things fast. Speedrunner, achievement hunter, perfectionist, all the worst things in one human combined. And here we are. So, but between Stranger Things and Dead by Daylight, that's been pretty much most of my day after running church cameras, obviously. And the message today was kind of interesting. It was a guest speaker, and with the message, I thought it was very interesting because wasn't really delivered in the same style that I'm used to with the pastor that typically speaks there. But I guess as far as my commentary goes on it, I thought it was odd. Like it didn't really quite resonate with me, and the idea was like, how are we a friend with God or Jesus or these things that exist like way far above us? 'Cause it's not like they need us, you know? Uh, I feel like that's the same way with like actual people sometimes too. You know, it's not like anyone needs each other, but I mean, kind of in small ways we do. You know, it's just not ways that we really understand or perhaps can really appreciate until later. Or, you know, hindsight's 2020, and that's one of those things that I'm like, you know, I wish there were some people that would come back into my life and maybe they don't understand it or maybe they're not the same person they used to be, but I have to think about that sometimes, I suppose. But back to Stranger Things for a little bit, because I think this would be an interesting topic for the video after talking about everything else today. As far as writing goes, so in the movie, so Will is the one who disappears in season one. All that first episode's literally called The Disappearance of Will Byers. So I don't think any of these are like major spoilers, whatever. But when he comes back from being gone, basically in season two, he's got some issues, we'll say. What I find funny about that is the way he expresses those or through drawing, you know? And I feel like it's a really interesting way of conveying that because in movies, there's a difference between showing someone something, telling it, narrating it, storytelling, animating, changing the style, shifting the tone, the atmosphere, all these other things that go into it. But imagine for a second if he wasn't able to draw those things, or if he didn't have the crayons there to draw the things that he's seen in his head, how much different the story would have to be, you know? Like an artist who can't draw, a writer without a pen, those other things. And for a second I was like, some days I kind of feel like that, you know? Having ideas and then knowing that I'm not skilled enough to fulfill those ideas to the extent that I wish they were. Uh, and it feels almost backwards because it's like, well, if you started working on those things, you'd certainly be able to do it eventually. And while that's probably the case, I don't know. Maybe it's waiting, you know? And I was thinking about that too, because combine everything for a second. This is your final exam, right? From all the oxygen not included videos and all that. Some of the characters are specialized, they have individual things they're good at, but you being the player, you have to be good at all these things, you don't have to understand how to put all the pieces together. Now, if you take a leader within any assortment of people, they have to understand each thing, not perfectly, but to the extent that they're able to sort of govern or show the way forward. And I think kind of the hard thing there too is understanding that their talent isn't necessarily being individualized or having one really specific thing, but it's being able, like, their talent is people, you know? And that's something that I think about a lot sometimes too, because while I am good at a few very specific things, a lot of those being just talking to people, honestly, it feels like when it comes to actual skills, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest, certainly not the most intelligent, especially when I look back at school or SAT scores and all that. But there's some merit to everyone, you know, and well, a leader without anyone following, just a madman on a walk, you know. So, if you find someone worth listening to, if you find a writer with a story worth reading, or an artist with drawings that are inspiring, you know, maybe take a moment to look at them and try to understand it a little bit, or support them and see where it goes from there. Because, you know, I think it means the world to people, and if you're one of those people that I guess are on the receiving end of seeing the merit of your work or the work others do and sort of it being collectivized, it's isolating almost. But one can certainly appreciate what it sort of culminates in, you know? My finger's getting tired here. So, I meant that was a lot to unpack. And sometimes I think back at these videos and I'm like, man, I hope most of this made sense because in my head it doesn't always make sense. But then sometimes when I watch that back, I'm like, I actually kind of articulated that decently, even in ways that I wouldn't have thought that really made sense in the moment, but they ended up making sense anyways. So, I hope this does. And while I can't promise every video is good, every night can't be good, I certainly hope this meant something to someone. So. And with that, my music also paused. I don't know how long ago that was because I had some library plays that weren't like local downloads on Spotify, and for whatever reason, it's caused Spotify to pause randomly. But yeah, I think I'm in that there. So thank you for watching. I've been farming Bongo Cats. I don't know if YouTube will actually let this. Is this gaming technically? I mean, Bongo Cat's a game, and who knows. So thanks for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and I will see you in tomorrow's Sad Reality. Have a great rest of your night.